Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Today, as soon as I start the film it comes on to rain. I hope it's not going to be too hard or it will be deafening. Next thing will be the cat. Anything else? Doorbell? Phone? Today's video is going to be, it's sort of like one shelf at a time, but it'll be two shelves because it's one genus at a time. I'm going to have a look at all my Coelogynes. The collection's getting quite large now. It's probably one of my largest, and it's developed once I realised that they actually grow quite well for me, and they like the conditions in here. They like the cool, especially in the summer where it doesn't get too hot in here. So in the main they keep growing. It can be a downside with Coelogynes. They don't like, in the main, I say in the main because there are some warmer growers, but in the main they don't like heat. And our growing season, spring to autumn, has heat in the middle of it, and often that will shut them down. They will just stop growing. And that can be difficult to handle if you're not aware of the fact it's going on. So you need to watch your plants. If they're in active growth, you've got new growths pushing on, possibly new roots coming out, and you get a hot spell and all of that growth just seems to stop, then you need to stop feeding and cut your watering down, because they won't use it and you'll end up with soggy media and you can rot your roots. Which seems an odd thing, you know, in the warmest part of the year all my roots have rotted because they were too wet. It's because they're not growing, and it's just an unusual thing that they are capable of doing. And again, it won't be all of them, but so you need to watch out. And in the winter they can be actively growing, although it will be slower because of the short days, the lack of light because of the short days, but they will still be growing through the winter. But some of them do have distinct dormant periods where they're not doing anything. It will often follow flowering, but not necessarily. So there's a lot of factors going on in looking after Coelogynes, quite honestly. And it's it's a plant at a time, species at a time, hybrid at a time. You just got to watch your plant, see what it's up to, and treat it accordingly. If it's actively growing, you know, nice big new growths pushing on, then it'll want some feed and it'll need a constant supply of hydration. So, and if it's not doing that, then it doesn't. It's quite easy, really. Anyway, so I've got two shelves and a workbench that's been cleared off. So I'll spin the camera around. What I'm going to do is get all the plants off of one shelf down onto the workbench, stick the camera around where I can get at it, and I'll just pick each plant up in turn and we'll have a look and a chat about it, put it back, get the next one until I've done them all, and then I'll shut down, put that shelf back and get the next shelf down, and so on. We've got 2 and a bit shelves. I say a bit because this one's on a separate shelf. It's the only way I could get at it where I could see it, as the blooms are quite attractive. So yeah, I'll shut down now and we'll spin the camera around and get going. Okay, I've pushed the camera a fair way back because some of these plants are large. Now they're not all large. I mean, you're going to get people say, I can't grow those, they take up too much space. I mean, some of them are heading up to cymbidium size, it's catching them up. And some Coelogynes do grow absolutely enormous, but there are some nice smaller growing ones. You could call them miniatures in amongst the rest. Things like Fimbriata is a small Coelogyne. It blooms in the autumn and it's very fragrant. It's quite an attractive one, although the blooms aren't large. Nitida, again highly fragrant. Flaccida, that's also fragrant. So there are some fragrant ones amongst the Coelogynes. They're not all. The ones I've got so far are not fragrant. I know Cristata is, but it's not what you'd call a strong fragrance. But I don't necessarily buy Coelogynes for their fragrance. I buy them because I love the blooms. Right, so let's get going. The first one is one of 3, and this is the mother plant, and this is Coelogyne Moriana magnifica, and yeah, got quite a few. Let me put the tray down or I'm going to drop this because it makes it clumsy. Got quite a few new growths coming on here. New growths form like this, then open their leaves, and on this one the blooms would come out from between the leaves on a new growth before the leaves head up to maturity. So you see the spike. That normally stops the leaves growing for a while that particular growth blooms, and then as the blooms die off it carries on growing and completes the size of the bulb. To say this has got 2 strong new growths on it, 3 in fact, because there's one tucked in behind the other 2. So 3 nice new growths. It's got some 1 or 2 leafless bulbs, and some a bit shriveled, and some ridged. Now, there's a difference. I don't know whether I can show you. I can't really get at it because the new growths are in the way. But this is a slightly shriveled bulb, whereas this is a ridged bulb. There is a difference, yeah? And as they age, they do become ridged, but they can become shriveled. You do need to know the difference. Shriveled means they're not getting hydrated enough. That will often be because the plant's sulking following a repot and the roots aren't functioning properly. So it's just normally an insufficient root system for the size of the plant, which often follows a repot, and or you're not giving it enough hydration. Could be you. Right, so that's that one. That's just going to go down there because it's a big one. I'll get that one out actually. If I put it down there I shall knock it over. Let's put it there. Right, that's that one. So this is again Moriana magnifica, and this is a smaller division. Now you can probably see better here. That is a bulb that's starting to shrivel a bit. That is a bulb that's ridged. Yeah? And this also, as a small division, has 2 nice strong new growths, neither of which look like they're going to bloom. Ooh, no, I don't think so. But it's a relatively small division. It's growing okay. That was put in a black pot. For some reason I got it in my head that Coelogynes are okay in black pots. I don't need to see the roots. Wrong. I probably won't do it much in the future. So that's that one. That one back there. And then this is another Moriana magnifica division. It's a much smaller division this time. And it's just starting its first new growth. That will be its only new growth on that size of plant. Again in a black pot, so I haven't got a clue what's going on in the pot. As I said, I don't think I'll be doing that again. It might have been that I just didn't have the right size pots in the clear type. So I just spotted a scale on that one, I think. Right, now this one again is a small division. I have grown a new growth on it. Previous one not very big, this one a bit bigger, but I would say heading up towards full size. And this is Usitana crossed with salmony colour. You can have a look at that one. It's a bit of a mouthful. You focusing? Probably not. There we go. So that's that one. Can't remember. I don't think this one's bloomed for me yet. It might have done, but I don't think so. It might do on the latest growth, but I doubt it because it would have done it by now. So possibly on the next growth up. So that's that one. Now this one you haven't seen in bloom before. It's not a very good plant. This one can come out of the pot actually. It's growing some reasonable roots. So it has got a reasonable root system now. You can see here in that gap which I should have tried to close up. Those are the old tired roots from the back end of the plant, and most of the white roots have come down, you know, near the front of the plant. This is a little high in its pot. Yeah, got a new growth right up here, but it's over an angle. It would not go in the pot otherwise. So this has got to be repotted again at some point, where it needs to stand upright and the new growths need to be on the surface of the media, which it's not doing at the moment. Nonetheless, we do have a shed load of new growths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 new growths. So, and we do have old shriveled bulbs, not ridged, shriveled. These couple round the front are ridged. There is, hopefully you're getting to see the difference now. And this has just come into bloom, and this is Coelogyne moriana. So this is the basic species, not the magnifica, which was an exceptional version of this and given its own separate name. Nonetheless, the blooms are attractive. Nice pristine white with a lovely yellowy gold in the lip. So attractive blooms, just not very large. And this is not a brilliant spike. It's only got 2 blooms. You can get quite a few more on a spike, but as I said, this plant hasn't rooted in very well yet, but it probably will do in the near future because it is pushing some roots. So that's that one. And then the last one in this batch is here. It's another one that's in bloom. This was bought in bloom, so this is not my work, not my handiwork. But this shows you the way that some of the Coelogynes bloom. Now, not all bloom like this. Some push up a spike alongside the base of the pseudo bulb. Yeah? And there are others that produce spikes from the base and cascade. So there are various different types of blooming. Now this one came from Burnham's, but it's actually one of Arthur's private collection plants, so it's not one of Burnham's own, although it probably started there. So that's this one. The blooms are attractive, they're not long lasting, but it has the added bonus of being a sequential spike. So the oldest bloom on this spike has already dropped. This one's going to soon. These two are open. This one will be open soon, and it's still got another bud pushing on. So a sequential spike is quite handy because it extends the blooming time. And again over here, the second spike, this bloom's starting to go, this one's not so bad, and then we still have another bud at the top. And this does the more typical, you know, pushes up a new growth, spike comes out between the leaves, and the leaves will carry on and progress up to rather large once the blooms are finished. This is potentially quite a large plant. I mean, if you take this leaf here, you know, that's a long leaf. And we've only got a few bulbs at the moment. Yeah, you get this up to a specimen sized plant with perhaps a dozen bulbs, that's going to take up a lot of room. So this will be one of the larger ones. It isn't at the moment, but it will be. Yep, here comes the cat. Well, as we've got the camera, you can come and say hello. You haven't said hello for a long time, have you? And say hello to the people who think you're wonderful. I think you're wonderful most of the time, but not all of the time. Some of the time you are a flipping nuisance. He's a bit bleary-eyed now, he's just woken up. That's why he wants to go out. You soppy cat. You going out? Hey? Come on then. Let go of me jumper. Oof. Shut his tail in. open the door. Right, I'll shut down now and then we'll get the other shelf down. So I'll be back. Alright, let's have a look at the ones from the, these are on the sort of centre shelf on the top. Now this one, this is Speciosa variety Burnham's, and this again is a sequential bloomer. It's currently got 2 growths on the go. Again, this is the type where the new growth starts and the spike comes out while the leaf carries on growing, although the leaf slows down its growth while it's blooming and then speeds up afterwards. This doesn't grow very big. I mean, the older bulbs are probably full size, and the other difference with this one is, as far as this particular plant is concerned, the bulbs only have a single leaf. Now, that's a little unusual, most have 2. This one seems to only have 1. Blooms are gorgeous, and I can assure you that the camera doesn't justify the colours. They are a very, very delicate shade of peachy colour, and the ridges and raised elements of the lip are quite fascinating. So that's that one. I haven't had that one too long, it's still a relatively small plant, but 2 new growths in bloom, and we now have a 3rd new growth coming up that, quite honestly, given the bulge at the top of it, I think is going to spike as well. Now they do take a while to open the first bloom, so it might be that this one is on its last bloom, this spike. I doubt if it will produce another bud now. This one over here does have another bud coming, so we might end up with still only 2 in bloom at the same time. So that's that one. Right, I'm getting this one out because this has not got very good roots. It hasn't rooted very well yet, and the problem is the latest 2 growths on it didn't produce roots yet. However, they have produced 2 nice big bulbs. This is my cristata. We do have 2 spikes on the new growths. Given that we're in December now, I think we should get blooms possibly end of January into February. It's about the sort of time they normally bloom. This bulb here tried to produce a spike, but it aborted. So we've just got the 2 spikes on the latest 2 growths, and the latest 2 growths are sticking out the side of the pot and have a bare rhizome with no roots on. And the previous growth here has no roots on because it's running along the surface of the pot. And round the back of the pot, where we do have some root activity, it's got down into the bottom of the pot. But this is another one of those that needs its rhizome kept on the surface, otherwise it just seems to not bother pushing out roots. But I've seen specimen sized plants of this that are like 9 inches high from the media, and 3/4 of the bulbs are out of the media and have no roots. They're all conjoined together and supported from the roots on the lowest bulbs, the ones that are actually in the media, and they grow into like a hump. So having a few with no roots is not the end of the world, but I prefer them to have roots. I'll start putting these back over here, or at least some of them out of the way. And its pot. So that's that one. That's an unusual variety. The ones that aren't in bloom, I'll put pop-ups of the blooms. It's not a normal cristata, it's a little bit special. Now in the wild, cristata is variable. You get some plants that don't have very large blooms. Some plants have larger blooms. Some plants have larger blooms and curly petals and sepals. They have different colours in the lips. This one somebody picked out in the wild and brought it back, a long time ago. I'm not saying it was allowed in those days, but a long time ago, and this has been perpetuated in this country, of which I've got a piece. Right, and the next one is, this is granulosa, which is a primary cross that exists in the wild, hence the X on the front of the name. I haven't had this one long. I don't think this has bloomed for me yet either, but it has produced 2 new growths. So we've got 2 new growths. Again, this doesn't look as though this is going to grow that big. So I'm assuming the grand element of its name relates to the blooms and not the size of the plant. This will probably start producing some more new growths when the longer days come. This is not dormant, but it's not doing anything at the moment. The new growths, the bulbs are mature. I doubt if they're going to get any bigger. The leaves are full size. So this is effectively one of the ones that I was on about. If it's not growing, which it isn't, then don't keep it soaking wet, especially in the winter or in midsummer. So that one's not doing much. Yeah, I've got a couple like that. Right, so this one is not a nice plant. This is tomentosa. It's a relatively recent acquisition, quite honestly. It's the one that has the strange coloured tips to the new roots, but unfortunately the new roots are now not new roots. They've grown on. Now this is not a very good plant because it has far too many old leafless bulbs on it. And it's got 4 old bulbs and only 3 leaved bulbs. This also is a bit of a giant. It does grow very large leaves. It does have a new growth. This has already had 3 spikes without growing any new growths. It does now have a new growth that at the moment is quite pathetic, but I don't believe these leaves have finished growing looking at the colour of them, so hopefully that growth will push on. There is a tiny little bit of root activity at the base here, not a lot, but this has the cascading pendulous, very long bloom spikes. So that's that one. I doubt if we'll see blooms on that for a while now. 3 on the trot on the existing bulbs without growing any new growth is not bad going, although they are nice large bulbs. I didn't grow those, they were as it was given. And then we've got this, which is a recent experiment to try and get this rhizome to root. So this is hanging off the edge of the pot. That section of rhizome is not going to grow any roots, so it doesn't matter that it's hanging out. And by hanging out the side of the basket, I managed to get these 2 giant bulbs into the media. There's a rhizome clip holding it down so that it doesn't spring up, and it does have a new growth down there right on top of the media. Now this is a basket. The basket's lined with moss, not for the plant, it's to stop the bark falling out the gaps. And I'm hoping, because the rhizome between this bulb and this bulb is very long. If you look at the angle of this bulb here, yeah, the rhizome starts there and finishes here. It's 2.5–3 inches long and it's got no roots on it at all. So we've got a large section of this plant not with any roots, but it's got an enormous latest growth and a new one starting, so we'll watch it with interest. Now that the rhizome is in contact with the media and is hopefully capable of growing some roots. Whether it will or not, we'll have to wait and see. You have to excuse the clonking around in my shoes. I've still got my slippers on, and they've got Hannah got these for me, and they're special slippers that can take going outside. They've got a very hard base to them, and on this hard floor out here they clonk around. If I had my normal sandals that I wear all the time, they make hardly any noise at all. But these clonk around, they're quite noisy. Right, what have we got here? This is Lawrenciana. Beautiful blooms on this. Now this one produces its blooms from between the leaves, and you won't be able to see it, but there is a bud. No, I can't get it in a place where the camera can see it. There is a bud down there. You might just be able to see it. A spike, sorry, not a bud. That may or may not develop, because this one had one and it aborted. But nonetheless, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 new growths on this, pushing on. They've already got their leaves, and this one 4, 5 new growths, another one round here. It's also reached the edge of the pot, but most of the roots from this area here have gone down inside the pot, so they got left. It's difficult, this one, because this bulb looks like it's rotting, because the sheath is a very dark colour. It's not. It's okay, but it is incredibly wet, this sheath, so I'm going to peel it off and it can dry off in the air. The others are okay, it's just that one. But anyway, this is again, the back end of the plant has got plenty of room to grow, and it never will, and the front end hasn't got any, and it will. So we should get a bloom on this. Actually, I've just spotted another new growth. It's 1, 2, 3. Oh no, I had counted it, 4. So it's going to bulk up. It's got a couple of back bulbs that are leafless, and it's got reasonable roots. So it's doing okay, and the new growths are producing new roots on top of what it's already got. So it's doing okay. Blooms are smashing on this one, but they're a strange one. The spike extends and produces the bud, and it sits there for a very long time, and you sort of think, oh, it's aborted, it's not going to open, and then it changes colour, and you think, oh, there it goes, it's going to blast, and then it opens. Plays tricks on you, that one. Right, and the last but not least, this also is capable of becoming quite a giant. It's got some strange marks on some of the leaves, and they look like paint to me. It looks like something's got on that in the nursery. Now this is, it's another one with a long name, read it yourself. It's another large white. I think it's got Moriana in it. But I can't remember whether I've had blooms on this yet. I think it might be one that I haven't had blooms, because I'd seen it before. It's one of Burnham's own crosses, hence the name Burnham on the end. It was an awarded plant, and I'd seen it before and really liked it, so I think I got this one blind because I knew the name and I knew what it was going to be like. I'm happy to buy that sort of plant without blooms. It's a big plant. It does have new growths on it. The new growths have pushed up their leaves, and at the moment we have no sign of any blooms. Nope, nothing, because they would come up, again, they would come up down in there on the new growths. Yeah, they would come up in between the leaves, and they're not. So this one hasn't come out of its pot since I got it, so I don't know what's going on in the pot. But I do know that the bulbs are nice and plump. It's got big leaves on it. It will grow into quite a monster. And this one's doing okay, but no blooms yet, so we'll have to wait and see. But I know the blooms are good. Right, so that's it. That is my Coelogyne collection. They seem to be growing reasonably well here. The ones I had around the old place didn't do so well. Some didn't make it, and some were passed on to other people before they went downhill too far. I mean, at one point I had a very large, good Coelogyne cristata, but it wasn't doing well and it was going downhill, so it went to somebody else that could grow it better. How it's doing, I don't know. But it is somebody I do occasionally bump into because I think they're a member of Devon Orchid Society, but they come to Burnham's now and again. So, and I'm eternally grateful to the chap because he recommended the grazing cow as a breakfast stop. And that's where we met, where he bought some of my plants, and we met there, and I gave him the plants, he gave me the money. And we stopped for breakfast, and we've been stopping there ever since. Every chance I get, every time I go past there to go to Burnham's or anything else down that way, I stop there for breakfast because it's so good. And I didn't even notice it. Been driving that road for years and had never noticed the place until it was pointed out to me. And now we stop there every chance we get. Have a wonderful breakfast and the most superb coffee. It's well worth the stop. It's not exactly cheap for a road. It's like a roadside cafe, but it isn't. The food in there is very well cooked and presented. So it's not a Greasy Joe's job. Anyway, so that's my Coelogynes. A look at them. We have got some in bloom, so we've seen some blooms. We've got quite a lot of growth going on. And we've got a couple that are doing very little at the moment. My cristata, although it's got those spikes starting, I doubt if they're going to grow much now until end of January, possibly into February. And the longer days may trigger them. And we do have some that are almost dormant. So that's where the watering has to be very gentle, especially in the winter. Right, there we go. That's that done. And I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.